2016 BT50. Problem with this car is something to do with the DPF. A few parts has been already replaced, and few mechanics has come to the conclusion that it's going to need a new DPF in order to fix this car. Customer states sometimes he lose power, as in kind of like it goes into the limp home mode, but most of the time it's okay. Plenty of power, but the check engine light stays on the dash. Let's diagnose this car, guys. Before we diagnose it, let me take you upstairs and I'll just show you a few things, how the DPF system components are laid out in this vehicle, just in case someone's looking for that information. So let's just take you upstairs. This is basically the setup we have underneath the vehicle, right? So that's your DPF there. It sort of sits under the cabin. It's not near the engine, it's sort of under the cabin right here. That's your DPF right there. Now this DPF has 3 temperature sensor, okay guys? So the first temperature sensor is this one right here. It doesn't look so much like a temperature sensor, but that is a temperature sensor as well. So this is the rear temperature sensor, the very last one after the DPF. If you follow that wire, you'll get to the plug over there, that black wire, okay? Then you got another pressure sensor right here with the green insulation, and the plug sort of goes in that direction. And you got another one here, the blue one with the blue sort of color insulation. If you can see in there, that's another one before the DPF. It's hard to reach there, but that's the sensor that has been replaced. You can see it's very clean, new sensor. You can see the plug is also clean, black. So that's the temperature sensor has already been replaced in order to fix this vehicle, right? Regardless of all 3 temperature sensor, they all pretty much works the same, okay? It's a 2-wire sensor. If you pull the wire, there's a 2-wire there. All 3 sensors, temperature sensors, are 3-wire sensors, 0.5-volt sensor. There's nothing different. If you know how to check the coolant temperature sensor, you know how to check the exhaust temperature sensor. There's nothing different. You can go back and look at my coolant temperature sensor video if you like. Same thing here. If you pull this insulation, you got 2 wires right there as well, okay? They all work the same. And the last one, it kind of doesn't look like a sensor. It's got a bit of a metal bit hanging out there, but this is just the wire there, so it is a temperature sensor as well. Also, down this way, I'll just put the light over there so we can see what we're doing here. So just on top of that temperature sensor, you got that little pipe coming out, okay, that pipe there. And also behind the sensor, behind the DPF, there's another pipe, steel pipe. So they sort of goes in there, joins with a rubber hose, and it goes up under the coolant bottle. That's where the pressure sensor is. That's your differential pressure sensor. So it measures the pressure difference between the DPF, the front of the DPF and the back of the DPF. That's how they work. It's just a normal pressure sensor, guys. 3-wire sensor, pretty easy to check. Anyway, if you follow that pipe, you'll see it goes up there. There's a 2-hose connection on that pressure sensor right underneath the coolant bottle. Okay guys, also one more thing this one has, let me find it first. I'm trying to do everything with holding the camera. Okay, so right sort of here, this is way ahead of the DPF, okay? So DPF sort of sits behind here, that's your DPF, but if you look just under the manifold after the turbo downpipe, right there, let me shine the light properly if I could. Anyway. Okay, let me do it that way. hope you guys can see that. So it's basically, it looks like a little oxygen sensor. It looks pretty much similar, just a pipe. There's a two wires, black and red wire right here. So you got your red wire there, and then you got your black wire on the other side there. So what this is, it's called fuel vaporizer or atomizer, if you want to call it. It basically vaporizes the diesel fuel. So if you look in there, there's a little hose connected to that. So on this other side right there where my finger is, see that hose, rubber hose connected to that vaporizer. That hose, if you follow that, the other side sort of tends to go to the other side of the car, and then it comes back around this way, and then it attaches to that part right here. Other side's connected to the fuel tank. So the fuel comes in, and this one sort of lets the fuel to go to the other side, the fuel vaporizer, so it can directly inject fuel into the DPF when they're doing the burn, you know, DPF regeneration. I think that's what the system is. Obviously it's got the electrical connector there to control when to open and close that. All right guys, I did a little bit of study on that fuel supply system on this BT50. So basically how it's working is, it's a fuel pump that's obviously connected to your fuel supply somewhere, right? And this one goes to your fuel vaporizer right here, something like that, right guys? Now this fuel pump has obviously two wires. I'm guessing, okay, I didn't do the full study, but I guess it's gonna have two wires, because this is a fuel pump. According to my study, it says this is a fuel pump actually. So normal fuel pump, it supplies about 2 bar of fuel pressure, right, down this to the fuel vaporizer. And fuel vaporizer has two wires coming out. We saw with a red and a black wire, I think it was, right? So what I found is this is actually a glow plug. So they have a glow plug inside here, so it heats up. So this wire is to heat up the glow plug, right? Before the fuel comes in, they heats up the glow plug, and that helps to vaporize the fuel. According to my research, that's how it's working. I'm not gonna lie, I did look up a little bit earlier before I started recording. So I haven't got to the point where I know what the problem is. I was just looking at some live data and fault codes. So let's start our diagnosis right there. Okay, let's go back to diagnosis and let's see what sort of fault code we got here. Let's go. This is a Mazda. Where are you? All right, Mazda there. All right, let's just read the VIN number. All right, we got fault code right here, guys. Glow plug, cylinder 1. Exhaust temperature too low for DPF generation, bank 1. Filter restriction, soot accumulation, yep, all that. Okay, so we got 4 different fault codes here. The top one I'm looking at, the glow plug fault code. You guys can go back and watch my glow plug video on BT50 or Ford Ranger that I did. I'll show you there everything, step-by-step guide how to diagnose the glow plug problem. But I've had this many times on BT50 and Ford Ranger. Glow plugs are very known for failure, so they go sort of like a one at a time. You might have 2 at the same time, 2 glow plugs gone bad. I've seen a lot of the time the glow plug do go bad after 5-6 years of operation on this vehicle. And usually I've seen glow plug does not give you a fault code. Sorry, it will give you a fault code if you look into the computer, right? But it will not give you the check engine light. The illumination, the warning light won't be there for glow plug. That's what I have found so far. I could be wrong on that, but so far I have not seen light regarding the glow plug failure on this vehicle. So go back and watch that video. You'll know full how to diagnose everything. To change the glow plug, you need to take the intake manifold off, and while we're there, we might as well change all of them at the same time. It's about 1 to 2 hours, depending how good are you with the tools. 1 to 2 hours labor on that. To replace that glow plug. Okay, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Customer, I'm pretty sure the glow plug's not gonna give you the limp home mode and check engine light. So far I know. I'm pretty sure they're talking about this exhaust restriction and the exhaust temperature too low for a particular filter generation. Okay, I'm just gonna go and click on that freeze frame data and let's see if I can find anything here. Temperature in car running. I'm just looking for any clue, any sign that I can think of here, guys. Mass airflow sensor, intake temperature, fuel pressure. Not really anything that's sticks out here, guys. So the vehicle is driven. Is it driven? Stationary. 57 kilometers an hour. So vehicle is definitely driven. So that's where the fault code is, guys. All right. Before I do anything, see how we have a filter regeneration fault code, exhaust temperature too low. I'm not gonna show you guys everything, but I'll quickly show you. The customers gave me, I'm just not gonna show you everything here, guys. If you can catch that, right? The mechanic was very honest about it. He told the customer, hey, it looks like the temperature sensor is bad, let's change it. He did that, didn't fix the problem, and he did suggest, look, I don't really work on DPF diesel vehicles like that, take it to somewhere else. And he did go to a few exhaust places, few other mechanics, and they all told him pretty much, I don't know, this is a second-hand story, I could be wrong, I'm not gonna, you know, give bad name to other businesses, but they told him it needs a new DPF. Maybe he assumed it needs a new DPF, I don't know, it's gonna cost $3,000 or something like that. Anyway, that's where we're at. Sensor has already been replaced. Let's start the car up, and as I'm looking at the data here, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm pretty much, the car hasn't lost any power, so there's no point looking at, you know, intake, intercooler hose is broken, and I don't hear it. So when you rev it like that, you can hear it when there is a broken hose or something. You can hear that hissing noise. I don't hear that, right? Also, we can also go to the manifold absolute pressure sensor here. Let's see, right here, let's select that, and let's graph it. And when I rev it hard, it's, if you see, it's hitting around 200, 180, 200 kPa, which in case does. I'm just revving while it's idling. You can put it in drive. Let me try it. Put it in drive. Hold the brake, obviously, handbrake up. Safety first, guys, and rev it. See, it's hitting 200 plus PSI. So I know there's not gonna be a boost leakage issue here. So we can move on from there. Sometimes having a broken intercooler hose can block your DPF as well, and I've seen that. I've shown you that on multiple different videos. You can always go back and watch my Mitsubishi Outlander DPF video. There's so many, I've done other videos there regarding DPF issues. So I'm just gonna move on from here. What did I click here? Let me go back to live data. So all the fault codes are showing me some sort of DPF or temperature related issue, so I'm just going to focus on that, DPF and temperature. So I'm just going to go up here and type in temperature sensor. All right, temperature sensor, and I'm just going to find catalytic converter, not catalytic, sorry, temperature bank 1, sensor 1, sensor 2. I'm just not really interested on Voltage, oh, I can throw that in there. Voltage, there's another one, gas temperature. I'm not worried about the external temperature from sensor. I don't know what that means. I need to do a little bit of more research, guys. I'm here, you know, learning together, guys. No one knows everything. I don't know everything, so I'm not gonna claim I know everything. I'll just show you what I know, and we all learn together as we go. As the technology changes, technology advances in automotive, we all gotta keep going and learn. That's the only way, guys. All right, I'm pretty good with that temperature data right there. So I'm sitting about 120, 1420, 105, and this the top three. This top three is my temperature, degree Celsius, right? And the bottom three, this one is my voltage. They're the same data. One's showing you voltage, one's showing you temperature. That's it. And the two sensor here. Okay, I'll just get rid of that for a minute for you. So this two top sensor, that one and that one, is showing me 4.98, 4.97 volt. Okay, but the bottom one is showing me 1.1 volt. Okay, I don't necessarily think that's a problem, because if I go back and pull up that temperature data again, hang on, I need to do this together. Where did I go? So that's your temperature sensor 13, and temperature sensor there. All right, let me pull all back up. So right here you can see my temperature sensor, gas temperature, temperature 13. I think what that means is bank 1 sensor 3. So they got 3 temperature sensor like I showed you underneath. So 1, 2, 3. You can see temperature 1, temperature 2, and temperature 3. That only means bank 1, sensor 3. They just didn't give you the full description there. So that's what we're looking at here. Exhaust temperature sensor lower. I think we're looking at that temperature sensor at the bottom here. But it's showing me 1.1 volts. So what that means is just the way they set up that temperature sensor. One could be positive type sensor, one could be negative type sensor. So what that means is negative coefficient sensor. So how they so depending on the temperature, if the temperature rises, the resistance rises, or the temperature rises, resistance decrease, something like that. There's a different types of temperature sensors you can find, right? I think that's all it means. It means one's a different type than the others. So lower number, like you see here, 1.1 volt on this third temperature sensor, that just simply means it's, even if it's a different reading voltage, lower voltage, that not necessarily is a problem. But because if you see up here, temperature sensor 1, 3, right, we're reading about 110 degree, which is almost matches to the other temperature sensor at the top, 108, 102, 110, right? They're fluctuating up and down a little bit, but that's pretty normal for temperature sensor in the exhaust. I've seen that on few cars. If you, even sometimes when you rev the car, you can sort of change that value up and down a little bit, so don't worry about that too much. So right now I'm gonna just get rid of that voltage reading, and I'm just gonna focus on my temperature. At the moment they're all sitting about the same. Okay, now the fault code says there's a temperature sensor, something about temperature sensor. I don't necessarily think it's a temperature sensor, temperature circuit related fault, because if there was a bad temperature sensor, as in if the temp sensor is open or the wires are broken or something wrong in that circuit, I would see some kind of hard fault saying temperature sensor circuit fault, as in circuit open, closed, shorted, as some kind of description like that. But I didn't see that. It's kind of like a performance issue. Basically, computer is not seeing the right temperature to do a DPF regeneration. That's what I think it's happening here. Okay, but because if you look at here, they're all reading the same temperature pretty much, and you can't have all 3 temperature sensors go bad at the same time. Okay, if one is reading false information, let's say false temperature reading, you can't have all three of them going bad at the same time, and they sort of sits in a similar vicinity underneath on the DPF. So a little bit of temperature difference, obviously before and after the DPF, or before and after the catalytic converter, if it's a catalytic converter style car. Definitely there's a little bit of a variation in the temperature between front and the back, but they tend to sort of stay around the same temperature depending on what the catalytic converter or the DPF is doing. Okay, at an idle situation, I would say the temperature should be pretty close to each other, which I'm seeing that. Now I'm gonna just raise my accelerator a little bit, trying to heat up that temperature sensors and see, let's see how they react. Okay, so I'm just gonna rev the car about 2,000, hold it there. I'll just graph that for you guys. All right, let's have a look here what we see. All right, so we are starting around 110 degree. Definitely my temperature sensor are reading gradually going up. All right, one's hitting about 154. Sensor 2 is hitting 130, sensor 3 has 140. See, they are increasing together. Okay, so I don't think there's any problem with the temperature sensor itself. They are reading temperature no problem, and I don't want to fault one temperature sensor. Like I said, they're all sort of reading the same temperature, so it can't be one temperature sensor not reading right here. So if I let it idle, they should slowly drop. Okay, if you wait for a little bit, let it idle, they should slowly gradually the temperature should slowly gradually come down on all of them. So right now it's sitting about 159, 149 and 145. Okay, while it's doing that, I'm just gonna quickly go and have a look at my other data. So I'm interested in my coolant temperature sensor right now. See what the temperature are doing for the coolant temperature sensor. I'm not worried about the voltage data. I'm just worried about the degree Celsius. My temperature is sitting about where are you? About 74 degrees Celsius, right? I'll just re-graph. Get it out of the graphing mode here, guys. All right, let's go there. We can watch the temperature sort of sitting around 150 mark at the moment. Again, the temperature could be going up. Like, we just freshly started the car, so temperature should be going up. It's about 73 degree on the coolant temperature sensor right here, you can see. Right, all three of my temperature sensor rose from 110 to 150. It's sitting around there now. Right, if I rev the engine up again, let's see if we can change that temperature reading. As you can see, all my temperature sensors are increasing, so I do not think there's really any issue with the temperature. I'm not seeing ridiculous amount of temperature like in 900,000 degrees Celsius right now. Also, I'm not seeing very low temperature as in below exhaust temperature. Let's say if I was seeing 20 degree or 30 degree or 50 degrees Celsius, I would be asking a question, but this sort of looks pretty good right there. I'm also interested here in my DPF pressure sensor. So let's just try DPF. See what I got here. I got DPF percentage of maximum suit loading. Now this number is 108, 162%. I don't know what that means, and I'm pretty sure every car will have a different different sort of live data when it comes to this. I don't know what that means, so I'm not gonna depend on that. Okay, let's try a pressure sensor. I'm just looking for a DPF pressure sensor, differential sensor, whatever you want to call it. So exhaust gas differential sensor right there, and right here we got two sensors here. I'm just gonna get rid of my temperature sensor readings here and coolant temperature sensor reading. I'm just interested in this two data right here. Okay, now my gas differential pressure sensor, that's what that reading is, the blockage in the DPF basically, and it's sitting at 0 kPa, which is good. Let's just rev the car up and down. So my voltage reading at the bottom, they're the exact same data. One's a pressure data, one's a voltage data, but it's coming out of the same pressure sensor. But see how my voltage data is going up and down, but my kPa is not moving at all? I don't think that's right. That is why I did a little bit of testing before on a pressure sensor itself. And what I've found is this is just to let you know, guys, if you're ever stuck in this situation. Now, when you rev the car on a DPF diesel cars I've seen, this kPa will go up to about 15-20 kPa, which is normal. Okay, when you're revving, if you convert that to PSI, 1 to 2 PSI, it's pretty good when you're revving the car, right? At idle, I would say you will sit around 0 kPa, which is pretty ideal, pretty good. But when you're revving, just sitting idling, they move a little bit up to 10-20 kPa. I've seen that on a lot of diesel vehicle, but this one is staying at 0. It's not moving at all. However, my voltage reading is moving up and down as I'm revving. So what that tells me is this data is not functioning for this model on this scan tool for some reason. Okay, that's what it means, and I tell you why that is. Also, just looking at the voltage data at the bottom, let's get rid of that for a second. Just looking at the voltage data, we know it's moving up and down, but we don't know what kind of pressure is that, do we? We don't. So for that reason, if you ever get stuck in this situation, and I looked everywhere for the proper pressure data on this live data for the pressure for the DPF, I could not find anything else. So what you can do, guys, and this is usually I like to do it, what you can do is you just go and you switch the car. You go and you select, this is a BT50, Mazda BT50, but you can go to Ford Ranger and you can find that data. Let's do that anyway. So for some reason in my scan tool, Autel, I find the Ranger on the Europe, not on Australia. So you go Ford EU, just go manual selection, right? And under here you'll find Ranger. It's a 3.2 liter engine. Let's go 2015. That's the only options I have, and before 2015. I don't care about the automatic. I just select automatic. I don't know what type of automatic it is. I don't care. We're only diagnosing engine problem here, guys. Now here, let's go to control unit. It's exactly same data and everything, guys. There's no different, no nothing. But however, I found Ford Ranger has more data and more functionality when it comes to scan tool checking between the two cars. Okay, they're exactly same engine, everything, as you guys know, and they even look the same anyway. So let's go to live data, and here let's find that pressure sensor for the DPF. DPF differential pressure sensor, that's what it's called. It's a delta pressure sensor, guys. You can look up how they work, but they're just treat it like a normal pressure sensor. It's a 3-wire sensor, 5 volt earth. That's all there is gonna be, and it's gonna have 2 pipe coming in to the sensor, right? And it measures the difference between the 2 pipes, 2 pressures. All right, let's find the pressure sensor right here, and let's look here. All right, right here you can see different pressure sensor. I don't know why they give you 3, but they're both the same. And this one's sitting at 0 for some reason, and sensor. Now right here at the bottom, you see we got the exact same voltage numbers, and you'll go up and down like we saw on the Mazda live data. See, it's going up and down, it's hovering around 0 volt, 1 volt, right? But it's got 3 pressure sensors. The third one is not moving at all. Third one is staying at 0, this one. So, and the second and the first one, these 2 top ones are moving together. So I think they are only one data for some reason. Maybe the scan tool didn't put this correctly on the scan tool, or it could be something to do with the car. I'm not too sure. But all I'm interested is in only one reading here, which is the kPa 1. Now you can really see what that voltage means. Okay, I'll rev the car and see it's moving, getting up to about 20 kPa. 20 kPa is the max I saw. So this is what it should look like on a DPF pressure sensor reading. I wasn't seeing that on Mazda BT50. So this is a quick tip, guys. You can always find more data, more functionality, more active test when you go to Ford Ranger instead of Mazda BT50 on an hotel scan tool. I don't know about the other scan tool, guys. Okay, now at idle is sitting about 3, which is like half a psi, and if I'm revving it, it gets about 20 something kPa. You saw up there, right? You saw up there that hump there, 20 psi, right? 20 psi is about a bit less than a 3 psi, which is not bad. Which is not bad for a DPF. So a little bit of a pressure difference is obviously normal for DPF, guys. Okay, I don't see the DPF being blocked at this stage. 1022 psi is pretty much acceptable. So there's nothing wrong at this stage with the DPF itself. So now let's go back to the temperature sensor. I think we'll find more clue at the temperature sensor. All right, I'll just go and find that temperature sensor, guys. So we say what temperature sensor. Temperature sensor, I lost it. Here you go. Catalytic converter, catalyst temperature sensor, bank 1, sensor 1, sensor 2, and we said the 1313 is a sensor 3, and I think that's all we got. I'm not really interested on voltage reading. For me, I'm pretty sure nothing wrong with the sensor and the sensor circuit. I don't see a problem right there, guys. Now you can see. And I don't need that temperature, the DPF pressure sensor reading. So all I'm interested is in this 1, 2, what do I got here? I don't need that either. All right, so let's graph that, all 3 of them. All right, now you can see all 3 of them. Like we already verified that they are working. There's no reason to go and check the circuit. There's no reason to go any further with the temperature sensor itself. I'm pretty sure that's not what the problem is. So what I'm thinking, this is just my theory, okay, guys? What I'm thinking is, all right, let me pull up the temperature sensor again. Let me pull up and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. Engine coolant temperature sensor, cylinder head temperature. Okay, so this is what I am really interested in right now. Okay, let me just switch that back to, I don't know why that came up. Okay, I'm interested in engine coolant temperature sensor, guys. Okay, that's what I'm interested at. See how it's sitting at 69 degrees Celsius? Okay. And we've been idling for a while. My temperature sensor is sitting below half. It's not even quite at the half. So all I can think of is maybe the thermostat is kind of stuck open. So it's not letting the engine get to that operating temperature to heat up the exhaust. That's what I can think of. Because when you were revving before, as you saw, we were hitting about 200 degrees Celsius on that sensor one at the top here. Now we've been idling for like few minutes, let's say 5 minutes, and now all the temperature has come down to 120. My sensor 3 is sitting about 140. So I think the thermostat is letting this engine run cold at all time. That's why the DPF detects that I'm not having enough temperature on my exhaust to perform a DPF burn. That's what it sounds like, that's what it looks like to me. The temperature sensor are working absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong there. Right now my temperature sensor, my coolant temperature sensor is at 69. Let's just watch what's going on. While we do that, I'll let you guys watch this. I'm gonna go and find the specs for my thermostat opening temperature. So let me just go and find that parts catalog. Alright, I just pulled up the specs for my thermostat for this car, and it says 89 degrees Celsius. So my thermostat should open, fully open at 89 degrees Celsius. Okay, so just by judging at that, I see that temperature is a little bit low, if you ask me honestly. So for that reason, I might take this car for a drive, and let's see how much temperature we can drive on this vehicle. Okay, we'll watch the scan tool as we're driving, and we'll see what kind of temperature we'll get as we drive. It could be just idling. It's not obviously diesel car takes a long time to heat up. Let's do that. Let's go for a drive. All right, right now it's sitting about 69 degrees Celsius, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna hold the camera like this and go for a drive. I don't suggest doing this, but I'm taking a risk for you guys just to make the video. I hope you guys like and subscribe. I'll just take it out on the highway. We'll probably just do a highway speed and see what kind of temperature we get. Alright, raise up to 72 as I was just coming up the road. And you can see my temperature gauge as well. It's like below half. It's not even staying at half. I'll just stop the car and have a look. It's not even at the half. You'd think by this time it should rise up to half on the temperature gauge, but it hasn't. So let's just take it for a drive. My engine light staying on, as you can see there. Car drives absolutely beautiful. There's no lack of power. My camera might be a bit shaky, guys, just forgive me for that. I'm holding the camera and driving at the same time. So I'm sitting about 100 kilometers an hour, and my temperature has slowly gone up to 78. It's sitting around 78. My temperature for catalytic converter is reaching about 300 degrees Celsius, around that figure. All three of them are reacting to my temperature changes, right? So it's definitely looking good for the sensor part itself. My temperature gauge on the dashboard, on the instrumental cluster, is also slowly climbing, but I would like to see a little bit more than that, to be honest. It's still kind of cold to me. It looks like it's not It's not halfway just yet. I'll just zoom it in that temperature sensor here. Sorry, my camera's a bit shaky, but it's not quite at half. I usually like to see around half, but again, that's not always 100% proof. Sometimes you could have a temperature sensor that reads less than half, but it would be an accurate reading for that particular vehicle. All right, it's sitting about 74 degrees Celsius as I'm driving. And it's not going any more than 74, 70 degree. So far, I've been driving for the last few minutes. By the time the temperature should get to its operating temperature, we've driven enough. We had car sitting idling at the shop for a while as well. So definitely that temperature is not looking to where I want to see it. So let's just go back to the shop now. Let's see how the temperature gauge behave, what the temperature sensor reading is at on the scan tool. My exhaust temperature is sitting around 290, 300. On different sensors there's a different reading, which is pretty normal, like I said, guys. But they're kind of close enough at this stage, around 300. That's already told you that already tells you that there's nothing wrong with the temperature circuit, temperature sensor. It is acting the way it should. Okay, as I'm cruising doing 100 kilometers an hour, I'm seeing about 76, 75 degrees Celsius. It's not going any more than 77. Let's go back into the shop. And I'll just let it idle and let's see what kind of temperature that's maintains or drops or increases at idle. In my opinion, guys, if the thermostat is good, you would say you will maintain some kind of operating temperature. 76 is looking a little bit lower than what it should to me, if my understanding. But we did see that temperature reading for the exhaust went up to about 300 degrees Celsius. Now we don't know if that is enough temperature for the DPF burn. We don't know that. Okay, we don't have the information. Maybe if we can look into the Mazda information, maybe we can find that out, the temperature reading for the DPF burn, but we don't have that. I'm not trying to buy the subscription just yet. So I'll just let the camera roll and then we'll watch that scan tool. Let's see what sort of temperature that maintains. It could be an intermittent issue as well. Sometimes the thermostat is opening, stuck open, and then sometimes it's not. That's possible as well. So sometimes it's maintaining that temperature, sometimes it's not maintaining the temperature. So again, it's all in the cloud at the moment. Alright guys, we got our temperature down to 66. We're idling there for quite some time, maybe 5-10 minutes. We're sitting temperature sensor about 66 degrees Celsius. You can see on the graph, and all my temperature dropped to 120, 140 degrees Celsius. That is low, I think, guys. I think this thermostat is not maintaining its temperature right. Okay, now we can go and do something here. Okay, let me go here as I'm doing this. Let's go to the tat.com.au. I might need to log in. Maybe it's already logged in. All right, let's go to home page. All right, I'm just gonna type in Ford Ranger, maybe. BT50 doesn't have much data here as well, so I'm just interested in the in my scan tool data. This is a great website, guys. You can log in, you can buy a subscription, you can get a lot of good information on this website. It's called tat.net.au. Just looking for the similar year model. So 3.2 2014, maybe. Let's try that. I'm just interested in idle speed. What sort of temperature here are we seeing? This is a known good vehicle, so this data directly from the known good car. So I'm sort of trying to compare the data with what we have here. Okay, so straight away you can see here my DPF system maximum suit loading 0%. Just down there, down from that one, you see 0% right here. Missed that. Where did I go? 0%. Yeah, right here. DPF maximum suit is 0%. We saw like 100+% on our scan tool. So definitely looks like our car may have some soot accumulation. Should be at 0%, but the car is not trying to burn the DPF because car seeing that low temperature for DPF burn. So obviously that does make sense that DPF could have some kind of blockage, but I didn't see that on pressure. Pressure testing though, when we look on the light data, there was no blockage on pressure, but definitely looks like some kind of soot accumulation there, right? Let's just go. I'm interested in the coolant temperature sensor. Right here you can see the car is doing 770 RPM, which we are doing at the moment in our car as well, and it's at 86 degrees Celsius. So the temperature can get up to 86 degrees Celsius. Again, I don't know all the circumstances, the situation this car was at when they recorded this data for the website, but we're just trying to see some kind of sign that what sort of temperature we need to see here. So on the exhaust temperature sensor here, guys, it's giving me voltage reading and 0 degrees Celsius on the sensor 3, which I don't think it's right. It could be a scan tool problem like we saw on our scan tool too. There was some false data there. So this data is not helping me too much here. So let's go back and find another data. Maybe some other gentleman, some other mechanics put some other data here that could help us. Let's go 2015 PX. I hope I didn't click the same one, but first of all, I'm interested in coolant temperature sensor. This one is showing 71 degrees Celsius. And our exhaust temperature, bank 1 sensor 1's 4.99, bank 1 sensor 2 65 degree. It gives me voltage reading, and then it gives me temperature degrees Celsius. Then on sensor 3, this one's showing me 1000 degrees Celsius. Now is that correct? I don't know. All right, let's try one more. We done that one, I think. Let's try that 2016 3.2 liter. Let's go idle. Temperature sensor here. Engine temperature sensor, where's that at? Here you go. Temperature sensor sitting at 80 degrees Celsius. Now that's definitely already looking like more than what we have. We are sitting around, let's go back to our data. We are sitting around 64 degrees Celsius at the moment, and it can get up to 80. And the other data we saw 87 degrees Celsius as well. It can get up there, this thermostat, the temperature sensor for the cooling system. Now exhaust temperature sensor, again it's giving me same data, but we got 1000 degree on the sensor 3. I don't think this is right data for this. I think it's a problem with the scan tool live data. I don't think that's correct. Back to our scan tool, our temperature reading is sitting around 110, and and on all of them 110, 115 degree the temperature for the exhaust, and my temperature for the engine coolant is about 65, and I'm pretty sure that's a bit low for this engine, guys. I think this one's gonna need a thermostat. All right, moving forward, just for the sake for you guys, I just went and spent 20 bucks and got the Mazda subscription manual, trying to look for any information on how this DPF sensor works, what's the criteria of DPF regeneration. Nothing I can find. I went through the whole manual, whole page, everything. Nothing I can find. I did find, however, the DTC2463. This is your diesel particulate filter soot accumulation, right? We had that fault code, and all it's pretty much saying is verify the code, inspect the DPF pressure sensor, which I think there's nothing wrong with it. Right here, DPF pressure sensor, if you come down, it says perform DPF regeneration, static regeneration. Just visual inspects if there's anything wrong with the DPF, replace the catalytic converter, then go to next step. And on the next step, it just say make sure reconnect all the connectors, clear DTC, run the vehicle on the freeze frame data, stored condition is the same fault present. Says no, go to next step. Yes, go to the applicable DTC inspection, which will basically take you back to the same page, I'm pretty sure. After the vehicle repair, perform few after repair procedure, and that's it. That's all it says there. Just inspect the DPF, inspect the pressure sensor, inspect the piping for the pressure sensor. Is there any cracked, I think they're talking about cracked damage, or and misconnection found, right? We know this is not our problem. That's all it says. There's nothing there on that regards. And another one I found was the factory manual for DTC P2444C, which P244C, okay, which is same for 2.2 and a 3.2 liter engine. It says, I think I got a misprint here. So basically what it's saying is this DTC is present when there is the exhaust temperature sensor exceed more than 900 degrees Celsius. Sorry, there's a misprint, but it says when the DPF temperature sensor exceeds more than 900 degrees Celsius, right, then it locks the fault code, but it doesn't make sense. It's the fault code's description say exhaust temperature too low for particulate filter generation, but here it says if it exceeds 900 degrees Celsius, then it flags that fault code. It's just not making sense. Sorry, this misprint is like this DTC is present when exhaust temperature sensor exhaust EGT, exhaust gas temperature EGT exceeds 900 degrees Celsius. Okay, that's what the description for the fault is. Anyway, a possible cause: engine oil attenuation, excessive accumulation of soot in the diesel particulate filter, exhaust gas temperature number 1 malfunction, exhaust temperature sensor number 2 malfunction, fuel injector malfunction, and PCM malfunction. Right? There's that's what it's coming up with. And on the repair manual here, it says check the freeze frame data. Nothing on that. Number 3, it says switch the ignition on, perform the DTC access procedure and DTC reading procedure. Just check for DTC. And third, On the fourth step, it says right here, on the fourth steps, it says inspect engine oil. Inspect the engine oil. Is the engine oil normal? Replace the engine oil. How do you know if it's normal or not? They're black. Anyway, it's funny. Anyway, number 5 is perform diesel particulate filter regeneration. Okay, again, cool down the engine, clear the DTC, run the vehicle under the freeze frame data stored condition. If the DTC is present, if it's no, go to next step. If it's yes, go to next step. If it's no, go to step number 9. Let's go next step, no. Inspect the diesel particulate differential pressure sensor again. Same thing like the other fault code. Inspect the fuel injector. Is there any malfunction in the injector, right? I don't think there is. It could be, but I don't believe there's anything wrong with the injector. Engine runs smooth, there's no black smoke, plenty of power. I don't know. I don't see any misfire. I don't think there's anything wrong with the injector, personally. Then verify if the DTC troubleshooting is completed. And at the number 9, at the very end on the next page, it says verify after repair procedure, which is just what? Maybe they're talking about initialization of DPF and all that. Any DTC present? No, that's it. That's all they give you. There's nothing telling me here that that could lead to a fix for this car. However, I did pull up a specification for thermostat inspection, right? And it does say that thermostat, all I'm interested is in this area, guys. Thermostat, initial opening temperature is 86 to 90 degrees Celsius, and thermostat fully open is at 102 degrees Celsius. Just a 9 millimeter in length when it's fully lifted up, the thermostat. But anyway, I was showing you on the scan tool, like, guys, we didn't see that temperature rise to anywhere more than, I think it was maximum we're hitting about 78, 79 on the test drive. And when it's idling, it was going down to about what we saw, 64 degrees Celsius, I think. So it looks like the temperature range here is not right. It's not hitting up that engine cooling system. So I think, for me, I think it's the thermostat is the problem. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go and pull that thermostat. Let's see if we can find anything visually wrong. Otherwise, I'm just going to put a new thermostat. Alright, guys, thermostat looks like it sits right at the front on the top radiator hose. If you follow that hose right there, looks like it. Okay, I forgot how it's done. I've probably done it before, but I forgot at this stage. But anyway, so we'll pull that top radiator hose, the connection there, the plastic housing there, and we'll see if we can find a thermostat right there. Definitely got a little bit of pressure, but I'm just gonna quickly release that. That's no problem. It's hot, but it's okay. I'll be careful, guys. All right, that's the third screw, T25 socket. All right, there we go. That's our thermostat right there. All right, got the thermostat out. I'm just looking for a visual sign of any damage or anything like that. It is definitely at a closed position at the moment. Visually looking at it, there's no really sign of any physical damage. All right, this thermostat looks pretty good to me. If I put a light behind it, it's like that. There's it's in a closed position. This one doesn't have a rubber in the middle, so it's gonna have a little bit of gap. You can see the light passing through. I'll turn the lights off. Right? If I turn the light off, you can't see anything, but if I put a light behind it, you can see the little bit of light passing through there. That's pretty normal for the thermostat. But I got a little bucket here, right? So I'm gonna just place this thermostat. I got two thermostats sitting there. One is just a new thermostat. This one is rated at 82 degrees Celsius. That one should be rated at 89. That's our of the Mazda BT50. That's just something else. I don't know what it came out of. So I'll also put a temperature gauge right here, temperature meter. That's pretty accurate. You'll be using the infrared temperature gun just to keep the temperature monitoring. Okay, so let's do the experience when this thermostat opens and when they close. We'll try our best. I don't have a device that I can set the temperature of the water. You know what I'm saying? Those testing device, I don't have it. So I'm just gonna use a boiling water and we'll monitor the temperature here. I got a boiling hot water in this jug. I'm just gonna pour this water into this little container here we got. Okay, and let's just monitor and let's see what happens. Right now, my temperature is sitting about I don't know how accurate this might be, but I'm just looking at the thermostat area. It's about 88. It's about 80, hang on, about 85, 87, 88 degrees Celsius. That's when we started. On the temperature gauge here, I'm showing nearly I'm showing nearly 90 degree, about 88 degree on my temperature probe there, and you can see the thermostat is actually open. Both my thermostat is open. The big one, the one with the rubber, is for my Mazda, sorry, here, that we are testing, and I can see it's open. It's at least open about 6-7 mil on it, right? And we'll just monitor that temperature. Hope you guys can see that. Both my my thermostat's open. I can see my thermostat, the one we're just using for testing here, not off this car, is about to close. You can see the gap is closing, but my Mazda thermostat is still open, good 5 mil, 4 or 5 mil at least. You can see the light passing through. Now you can see on this this one here, it's almost closed. It's pretty much closed. It's pretty much closed at about 74 degrees Celsius, guys. This one's fully closed, but my Mazda thermostat still open. You can see the gap through. All right, now this one's completely closed, so I'm just gonna move that out the way. This is completely closed, guys, so I will move that out the way. We just use our Mazda thermostat here. Dropped down to 60 degrees Celsius here, 60, 61. As you can see, 61 degrees Celsius. Right, and my thermostat is kind of still open. It's not as open as before, but definitely it's still open about 1 to 2 mil on the thermostat. Yeah, I think that's pretty much shuts off now. I think that pretty much shut off that thermostat. Okay, so we're looking about what, 56 degrees Celsius. That's where this thermostat's closed. So definitely very low number for that thermostat to open. I'll definitely say something definitely wrong with that thermostat. I'm gonna try a new thermostat and then see how it goes. All right, I got a new thermostat here now. Let's do the same exact test we did in this container like we did yesterday. Okay, that one's similar looking. Obviously this is an aftermarket one, it's not genuine factory. And this one's showing me, it doesn't give me any numbers on the thermostat, but according to the specs it's about 89 or 87 degree opening, something like that. So we'll put both in there and we'll see how they react. Okay, let's see when it opens, when it closes. I'm just gonna go and grab some hot water. See how this thing reacts. Alright, let's simmer that in water. I'm gonna put my temperature probe like I did yesterday. And it's going up. About 80. My jug must not be doing a good job. Sorry, it's a bit noisy at the workshop today. I'm sitting about 81, 82. You can see I got 81, 82 on the temperature probe, and this one's also showing me about just below around 85 on that, guys. It's a little bit out, but I can already see the difference right here. This old thermostat is already open. You can see the light passing through there, but this new thermostat has not opened at all. It's not. It's barely open. It's not as open as the other one. You can definitely see the light passing through there, right? This one is not opening at all. Let me get it out. I got a little bit of opening, about 2 mil, but that one's wide open. So we already know, I don't have to do too much, guys. I already know this thermostat is definitely bad. Alright, we changed the thermostat, and this car's been, we took it for a quick run just to give it that first in-rust temperature. Usually diesel car doesn't like to heat up quickly when you start cold, so usually best to just give it a quick run up. Just 5-minute drive and come back and let it idle, and it's been idling for the last 10-15 minutes. And look at my temperature gauge. First of all, that's a good sign. We weren't hitting halfway before, now it's almost at the halfway, exactly pretty much at the halfway on the temperature gauge. Also on the scan tool, I'll show you. Alright, we got the scan tool up, and you can see the temperature reading now. It's reading about 85 degrees Celsius, 86, and that's been maintaining that temperature for a while now at idle, at least 10-15 minutes, which we were seeing below like 62, 64 degrees Celsius at idling. After a long period of time, obviously 5-10 minutes, but this is maintaining that thermostat temperature 85 degrees Celsius, which is good. Also, you can see on the temperature sensors for the exhaust, top 3 data list there, 135, 130. You know, it's definitely come up from 100 degrees Celsius yesterday we saw at idle. Definitely come up. And let's go back to hot function, and let's do a regeneration after treatment. Diesel particulate filter, DPF static regeneration. Okay, let's continue that. It gives you warning, keep the car away from the you know, combustive materials. Keep the car, do it outside the workshop. Don't keep anything near the tailpipes because the temperature can get hot. Let's go. Let's do that. Ignition is on. The engine is started. Engine coolant temperature is 85 degrees Celsius, and it's about to start, I think. Okay. Do not press the accelerator. Handbrake on. Blah blah blah. Just the safety stuff there. And I'll hit start. There you go, the engine rev come up. You can, I don't know if you can hear that or not. Engine rev come up. Now it's gonna do its regeneration. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I'll just keep the screen recording going, but I'll shut the camera off and then I'll come back once it's all done. Okay, we are moving away from the idea of engine coolant temperature issue. We did change the thermostat. That didn't really fix the problem. Obviously, we did fix the thermostat issue. We definitely saw that result on the scan tool, that now the temperature is getting around operating temperature at all time, which is good, but it definitely didn't fix our fault code and our DPF. I can't do the reburn. I tried many times. I can't do the reburn. It keeps coming up with the temperature sensor low, as in the exhaust temperature sensor very low. So I'm moving away from the idea. Now I'm thinking about why is our DPF temperature is low all the time. There's only two things I could think of. One was the thermostat, which we did. If the engine temperature is low, maybe that could decrease the temperature on the exhaust. Second thing, I'm moving away from that idea, and I'm gonna tackle this now, is the fuel supply. Like I discussed in the beginning of the video, this one has a separate fuel supply for the DPF reburn regeneration. So the fuel supply goes right here. There's a glow plug. There's a 2-wire, red and black, right? Glow plug. There's a plug right here, sits here. So that glow plug is your kind of like a vaporizer. It vaporizes the fuel, and they've got a fuel line coming in this way, all the way towards the other side of the car, right here. Other side of the car, that's your little fuel pump there. So basically the fuel comes in from the tank or from the return line, and then it's going to supply the fuel to the vaporizer like that. So first thing I want to do, quick and dirty test here. I want to quickly see if this glow plug is open circuit or not, and which is pretty easy. This is a 2-wire sensor, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to unplug this, right? And you can see that. Unplug this, and I'm going to just put my ohm meter and see if there's open circuit or not. Just back probe that, and I'm going to put that into my meter, and let's see if there's any resistance continuity or not. And we saw 0.7 ohm, and we got continuity. You can hear the beep, means electrically looks like that glow plug might be okay. Okay, it's only got about 0.7 ohm, which is not a lot, but at this stage it's safe to say about 1 ohm, 8.8 of ohm. Safe to say that glow plug might be all right. Okay. Second thing we can do here is come to the fuel pump area right here, and I'm just gonna look for power on earth on this wire. Okay, so I'll have the ignition on. Just turn the ignition on. Ignition is on. All right, I'm just gonna look for power on earth right here. I don't know what I need to see here, but that'll prove something. I'll just use my probe. So it's got nothing. I got 12 volt coming in, right? So I would say the computer will turn the earth for this one whenever it's it wants to turn that pump on to supply the fuel on the other side, right? The power of probe, because we do have probe here, we can always put direct earth here to make it work. So let's just verify that again. So this side we got 12.6 volt, which is my yellow wire, right? And other side is kind of like a brown color wire. So brown color wire is going to be my earth, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put direct earth on that brown wire. So I'll just back probe that. I'm going to connect that back on the fuel pump, and I can only simply touch the chassis. You got that there? I can simply touch the chassis. And listen for that noise whenever I do it. It does sound like that pump is doing something. It's kind of turning on. I'll put the microphone near there. I can definitely hear that pump doing something, right? Now, whenever we're doing the DPF burn, the computer has to control that, obviously, to send the fuel towards our DPF. Now, one more thing that can happen is we could have a blockage in this line. Even if we heard the fuel pump going, either the computer is not controlling it, not turning it on, or we could have a blockage, or we could have a computer not controlling our glow plug on the exhaust there, right? So for that reason, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly disconnect my fuel line from the glow plug, and let's see if there's any fuel coming out of there. Okay, let me do that. All right, I got the fuel line disconnected. I'm going to turn that pump on from here. I can't sort of keep that on for some reason. Is it supposed to be working like that, or am I not doing something right? Let me just use my probe to give it some earth here quickly, directly. So we know that pump is good. I got continuity here on my probe as well. So I'll just go and give earth supply. Okay, you can hear that. I'm sort of, can you show me the screen here? I'm sort of giving a pulse earth on that pump, and you can hear that pump clicking. And it's showing me it's drawing about 2.7 amps of current. But I'm not seeing much fuel over there. If you look on that pipe that I took off, I'm not seeing much fuel. It's just a dribble coming out. Now, is that supposed to work that way? I'm not sure. Is this pump not making enough pressure, enough fuel volume and pressure? I'm not too sure. Definitely that pump is not, it's not really a pump like a normal fuel pump that turns on all the time. Looks like it's sort of goes on and off, kind of like those style pump, what do you call it? I call it tick pumps. So they kind of tick, 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 tick. That way they pump the fuel. But if I put power here, it doesn't, not power the earth to energize that pump. It tends to go click and that's it. It doesn't do anything anymore. So if I give it a pulse, I can hear it sort of clicking and only a dribble of fuel coming out of there. Now, is that right? I'm not too sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the regeneration of the scan tool, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch what happens here. I'm also gonna check how much fuel comes out, and I'm also gonna check my glow plug, is it working or not. Okay, let's do that. On the fuel pump, I have a back probed on my test light, negative and positive, and also on my glow plug, I got the same setup here, back probed it, negative and positive, right, onto this test light. So when I'm doing a regeneration, I want to see if they are actually working, if they're turning on or not, and also we'll monitor how much fuel come out of that fuel pipe as well. I got the fuel hose exposed, off, disconnected at this stage. I will try to do a re-burn on this vehicle, right? You don't need to really see it, we've done it plenty of times on this car. So let's just start the car, just 1 second. Let's start the car. All right, I'm gonna start the regeneration. Let's see what happens. Don't touch the brakes, don't touch the clutch, nothing, okay? All right, it's doing a regeneration. We'll just keep an eye on the our test light. Let's see what happens. We got the fuel pump working. You can see the test light lighting up. Computer just commanded the fuel pump, and we can also see that glow plug. Glow plug is lighting up. Our glow plug is also working. Now you can see the fuel coming out of there too, right? So we got everything kind of working. So we just wait and see what happens. That just stopped revving. Yeah, that just fired again on us. The yellow, sort of like the transmission light with the explanation yellow gear light comes on the instrumental cluster. As soon as that comes on, that's kind of like a fault or something. So then computer decided to shuts my pump, shuts my glow plug, and it just stops doing the DPF regeneration. So at this point we know this. I don't know how much fuel is supposed to come out. We could have a blockage in that fuel line. I doubt it, but we saw some fuel come out. We saw the fuel pumps controlled and working. We saw the glow plug is controlled. Now only thing left here in my opinion is if that glow plug is physically working, is there a blockage inside the glow plug, inside that fuel vaporizer. So next thing I'm going to take that off and physically have a look what's going on in there. We just got the fuel vaporizer off. Basically this is what I was talking about. There's your glow plug plug, right? Just power on earth, and we got the fuel pipe coming in. It vaporizes the fuel, heats the fuel up. Right now physically looking at it, I don't see anything wrong, right? But this hole could be blocked. I'm pretty sure this is a straight hole from here to all the way there. So I'm going to put some fuel, some liquid here. Let's see if the liquid comes out of there. And that is not dropping. This unit is blocked. So basically the fuel sort of comes in, right? And goes here, comes out of this hole, but this hole is completely blocked, okay? I'm trying to put some air through right? And I'm not getting any air past that. Maybe tiny bit, but not enough. I would say this is a straight hole. I'm just going to open it and see what's going on. So I'm putting some fluid in there and nothing coming out of the bottom. So that tells me this is blocked. Okay, now we undid that. We just put a 12mm spanner and sort of you got to twist that wire around, but we can take it off. Or just cut the wire and resolder it later, doesn't matter. So that's your glow plug unit right there. That sits in the middle of the body on that thing. We can test the glow plug while it's out as well. And I'm just gonna look in there and see what we can find, okay? So, if you can see in here, I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, and I can see a lot of gunk stuck in there at the bottom of that hole. Yeah, I don't think you can pick that up, but I'll try to clean it. So if I put fluid here, it's coming out of that hole, no problem. So this hole, this pipe is not blocked. The body itself looks like a block is there. So I'm just going to try to clean that up somehow. Alright guys, we have success on unblocking that. I just used a little pick like that. I just went in there. You can see a pretty decent hole. It's about, it's not like a completely open hole. It's about maybe 2-3 mil hole in there, you can see. So basically just use the pick and just use a carby cleaner, just like that. Make sure plenty of fluid come out of that hole like that. Yeah, and just give it as much clean as you can. Just blow it with the air, both ways. Alright, you can probably just buy a new one and change it, but I'm trying to fix this without having to change the part. Alright, I think that's the best I can do here, guys. Just trying to break that carbon buildup in there. That's plenty of pressure coming out there, so we know it's good now. Now I'm just gonna quickly test my glow plug and see if our glow plug is working, okay? So for that one, I'm gonna need a battery. I'm gonna just grab the body. I got earth coming in there, and I'm just gonna put power in that I'm just gonna put power in that terminals there, okay? All right, I'm just gonna touch that body now. I'm pulling about 11-12 amps current, which is a lot. So you can see that smoking. If you can see that smoking or not, but that glow plug is getting hot. I know that glow plug is working. It's not glowing hot, but it's definitely I can see the smoke. You can always put a little bit of oil and, you know, maybe I can do that. Can you just put earth on that, power on that for me? Just on that tip there. All right, just for demonstration, I know it's working. I'm just gonna put some oil and you can see it's glowing hot. So we know it's working. Glow plug is good. We fix our blockage. Now we're gonna put it back together and see what it does now. Running up on the hoist, I'm just gonna hit the DPF regeneration, right? Let's do this. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll just put this aside. The rev's gone up. My fuel pump hasn't turned on yet. My glow plug hasn't turned on yet. You just wait for the glow plug and that to turn on. The computer is trying to see the temperature and everything, make sure all the temperatures are right before they can start this pump. Alright, my pump start turning and my glow plug is on at the same time. You can see my pump is duty cycle obviously, and my glow plug is also turning on. Okay, now we let it do its job. We'll come back to you once it's all done. Alright, so we finally finished with this car. So now you can see the DPF filter loading is 0% and 7% on the open loop, right? So there was over 100% before, but it took few DPF burn before it came down to that number. The first time I did it, it didn't come down to that number. So basically it's looking good. All the fault codes are gone. Now I can do the DPF reburn, everything with the scan tool. Now when we first started with the thermostat, maybe it wasn't the problem. You know, definitely the engine was running cold, so definitely that could have caused other dramas like, you know, soot buildup, carbon buildup, you know, fuel consumption issue. Definitely, regardless, we did fix that issue, but the reason why it wasn't performing the burn was that blockage in that little fuel glow plug vaporizer unit. Okay, all right, saying that, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'll see you next time.